Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shannon Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology coach, and personalized learning coordinator for my district.
And I'm her husband, Fuzz, and we've been spending a lot of time together.
We have. We're like work pals now.
We are. Actually, super hilarious. No, we've been doing our podcast for
55 episodes.
This is the 55th episode. We started in January of 2019.
Correct.
I've had my own podcasts going on since 2015.
The dawn of time.
And I actually had one earlier back in the day, but
when nobody podcasted.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But due to the quarantine, Amazon is sold out of podcast microphones.
So everyone is going to be podcasting.
There are going to be a lot of podcasts.
Radio
I will tell you,
of the past.
We've been putting in the work. And Shanna has a voice for radio.
Uh-huh.
And I am also okay.
But we're glad that you're joining us. We appreciate you picking our Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.
We're doing Chrome Extensions
Part 2.
Numero dos.
Yes. So Chrome Extensions Part 2.
Yep.
We had a little week off last week. And as I was putting this together and I was mentioning to you, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Part 3. We're not going to do it next week. We'll do some other sites next week.
Yeah, we'll get that up
But there'll be
later.
some more extensions coming because I have a really hard time picking extensions. And then once I mentioned, like, oh, we're talking about extensions this week, then everyone's like, here, I use this one and I use this one. I was like, those are all cool. I don't want to spend 4 hours on my podcast. I know everyone, we're all at home now.
You don't want to listen for 4 hours.
You can only walk on the treadmill so often, you know. So
but we appreciate you listening.
We do, but I'm going to try and keep it to our
and we have some
usual
cool tech
minutes.
tools that you'll learn on this podcast today, that while you're on the treadmill at home trying to escape your everyday life and not going
or walking
anywhere.
around the block. We do a lot of walking around the block. Mm-hmm.
There's a podcast I'm listening to right now that is so interesting. And when I listen to podcasts and they give the other name of podcasts, I immediately turn off and go tune to that podcast. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to do that right now. But at the end of this podcast, I will tell you the name of the podcast that I'm listening to. And it is great. And when I go on my 3-mile walks once a week, usually we're working out in the basement, but when I go on my 3-mile walks, I listen to this and it's so amazing.
Okay. It's a learning one too, right? Is it the learning one?
It's
we'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah, it deals with
Teaser.
Psychology and sociology.
Cool. All right. So let's focus on...
It's about lying.
Hey, if you're a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, extensions. Chrome extensions. We're talking about this week. Again, I had a hard time picking. So, I picked some fun ones or like useful in this time where we are spending so much time on our computers and we're trying to save time or save our sanity. I tried to pick extensions that would be helpful with that. So, the first one that we're talking about today is, I believe it's pronounced Cami. Some people say Kami. I think it's Cami. And what Cami does is you put the little extension. So go to your Chrome store, go to Chrome extensions, just like you put them all on before.
I went to high school with a girl named Cami, and she spelled it this way.
Did she?
Yeah.
Nice. And put Cami.
I don't know
Download
if
it.
she's like 40 years old and named Cami, though. Like, is that a name?
Sure. It would be like Debbie
Yeah, I don't know.
or Carrie. It
You
just
still
has
go
an
by
I
Cami?
or-
Like, is it like camera?
I'm guessing. Anyway.
No, I don't know.
I don't know. All right. So Cami, the Chrome extension, go and download it to your computer. It puts a little K up in your little extensions collection. Mind you, and I think, do you have all your extensions showing all the time on yours?
Yep.
Because I just get these little, your little symbols across top. So Cami starts with a K. And what it does, it's super cool. So what you can do is you can take existing documents, including PDFs, which is awesome because a lot of times you're finding things online. Sometimes they're PDF or they're documents you've had before. And you are able to draw and type and annotate and comment and do all of these things to like a PDF, which a lot of times is super difficult and frustrating. So what it does is you can put the Kami extension on, and then it gives you all of these tools to annotate and put work onto your documents. And then what's really nice is it connects to your Google Classroom. So you can then share these documents with students, or if the students have the extension, they can annotate and share with you. So it integrates with your Google Classroom. So you're able to have all of these tools with your annotations and when you're sharing and teaching. And I know sometimes you're like in a Google meeting and you pull up your doc and you want to be able to keep that information, not just pull up the information. But in Kami, then this extension has a lot of flexibility. So if you're looking for online creating, you can create assignments or just annotating articles and looking at PDFs. They do have different ways, like different licenses you can activate and stuff like that. But it gives you all of these really cool tools at your fingertips. And you can activate a free license. They even have, like, you can request a school-wide during, like, the COVID, what we're doing.
Yep.
You're able to do a school-wide thing so that way other teachers have access to it and you can share it with one another. So there's a lot of different options that you can do with Kami. So it's a very cool extension. There's tons of options that you have with it, and it's really flexible with teachers, which I think is fantastic. And you can select, you can integrate, anyway, you can play around with it, but there's just a lot of options with that one. Next up, we are going to talk about Save to Google Drive. We all have lots of googly things on our computers, obviously. And one of the really easy extensions you can put on your computer is Save to Google Drive. You go to the Chrome extension. I don't know if it's a store because you don't really buy them. I mean, do you?
Yeah, the extension
place,
yes.
Extension store. And Save to Google Drive literally does that. So you put the extension on, you click on it, and it will just take screen capture. It'll take the pictures or take the document, whatever you have on your screen, takes a picture of it, and then we'll drop it into your Google Drive. What's really nice is that you can choose where you're organizing it in your Drive right away. So you're able to like pick what folder it's going to go into, what, wherever you want it to go in your Google Drive, and you can organize whatever screen captures that you take right away, which is kind of cool. So that way you're not searching through and like do a screenshot and then hunt through your folder and then decide where you're going to put stuff and organize things for projects and stuff like that. So it's really nice. You can easily gather all your information quickly and it drops it right into your Google Drive, which is nice. And it's a quick Google extension. Not a lot of frills and a bunch of stuff, but it's great for organization. So that is Save to Google Drive. The next one we have is Toby, which the name is kind of confusing because it's another name. So we've got Kami and we have Toby. And actually, as we were putting this together today, the youngest was watching Sheriff Callie, and one of the characters is Toby. So then I was like, I'm looking up Toby right now. It is a tab organizer. So for anybody who has, like me, 12,000 tabs open all of the time on my computer, and I have like 3 different emails, so then each email has its own page, and then I've got like 20 tabs open with each email. So Toby is an extension in the little extension store, and it's like a little red T that goes into your little symbol pile. And what it does is it creates these little, I guess, like folders kind of your tabs. So if you go to the extension, it gives you like little collections, and you add a collection, and then it gives you all your open tabs on the right hand side of your screen, and then you can drag your tabs into these collections, and then you can save the session, so that way you can then open up just sections of your tabs. So you have all your tabs there at your fingertips, but they're organized so you don't have them in little tiny tidbits across the front of your screen where you have like 2 letters and you can't actually read your tabs.
Sure.
So it organizes all your tabs and then puts them into little collections for you and makes your life so much easier. And you can just quick then pull your stuff up as you want it versus just having everything open all of the time. So that is pretty sweet and very helpful for those of us that have a billion tabs on our screens all of the time.
So that's called Toby?
That is Toby, Toby.
There's one I use called the Great Suspender, which is for tabs as well. And when you have a bunch of tabs open and they're all accessing the internet, it will suck your battery dry and also your bandwidth on your computer. So I use the Great Suspender to... What it does is if you have a tab open that you're not using and is not being active, it will suspend it and won't be accessing the internet or sharing data or whatever until you click on it again. And so
it kind of puts them to sleep.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Sleep mode for your tabs.
Exactly. So it's really good at helping battery life and bandwidth on your computer, and it's free. And they do a great job. So it's real simple to download and easy to use, but it's called the Great Suspender.
Cool. So Toby's for organizing all those tabs, and then the Great Suspender puts your tabs to sleep.
Correct. Exactly.
Nice. Speaking of sleeping, the dog is super snory again.
She is very snory.
Oh, the life of her.
She snores I'm saying like she snores all day long, but she probably did anyway while we were not on quarantine.
Yeah, but now she snores, I feel, an excessive amount of times.
Agreed.
But I also think there's been lots of comparisons with people and dogs now that like we are now dogs, how we just eat and kind of sleep and go for long walks all the time. Basically, we're turning into our pets.
Agreed.
Our next extension, we've mentioned Screencastify often. I use it all the time. I'm screencasting all the time. They do have the little extension. So if you don't have the extension to quick do videos and things like that, it goes right in there. Kind of when you download Screencastify, it puts the extension on your computer.
Cool.
It's worth noting. Also, they have put through an extension of their extension. They are extending their like unlimited access package for educators through the end of May.
Great.
So my students, whether they want to or not, they get to see my smiling face every day with giving them directions besides Google Meet. So they get lots of little 2 and 3 minute videos. So if you're going to create things, Screencastify is always helpful for video. Just a couple of quick mentions for cool things if you are doing screen captures. If Fireshot, like Fireshot.
Yeah.
Like Fireshot. Fireshot takes web page like screenshots entirely. So takes full web page screenshots, screen captures, and then you can choose to edit them, and then you can save them as PDFs or JPEGs or GIFs or PNGs. You can upload them. You can put them into OneNote and email and all that kind of stuff. It will email things directly to you. So it's kind of cool. You can screenshot and then edit some things and send them to yourself. So just a quick mention. It's an easy one if you're doing that a lot. And I think you have something similar.
Yeah, there's one called Full Page Screen Capture, which is another Chrome extension that we use a lot for sending web design, full page web design screen captures to clients and such, and that you can download as a PDF or as a PNG file, and they do a really good job with complex sites of being able to download that and share it with others. So if your students are creating a website, or if they're maybe taking a screenshot for the purpose of citing a source or something like that, in that case, they can
Or
use.
sharing their work. A lot
Yeah,
of times they're
yep.
sharing their work now. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So full page screen capture. It's better than doing just a screenshot and scrolling and screenshot and scrolling,
Right.
that kind of setup. So you can get the whole thing at once, and it just scrolls down the screen for you, and pretty easy and free
Cool.
Chrome extension
So Fireshot or
or full page screen capture.
sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, that's like our, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about 3 extensions today, and we're at 7. So again, there's lots of little things that these extensions can kind of support educators while we're doing all of this online learning. There's lots of cool websites out there too, but sometimes these extensions are a little pick me up, or hey, this will be great, make your life a little simpler. And you can share them with your students too, which is pretty cool. So yeah, episode 55, part 2 of our Chrome extensions in the books. And we hope that everyone is staying safe and healthy and taking care of yourselves along with all of your kiddos. Thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at SmartInWI or on Facebook. There's lots of fun Facebook random posts right now because I've got time. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in this episode or the others, you can visit smartinwi.com. New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed on this podcast and the Smart and WI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but we hope they do. And we'll talk to you again soon on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.